Hello, good morning. Now we are reporting about the art appropriation. Now, what is art appropriation? Art appropriation, it refers to the borrowing images that are recognizable from different sources and using these borrowed images to make a new art form. Mandy Birds described it as means of experimentation by changing the context around the borrowed image objects. Thus, the meaning of the borrowed images and object is changed once these are used in the new work of art. Kahit nasaon ka ti art appropriation ka di kita art nga mabalinda nga i-revise or mabalinda nga agaramid iti sabali nga art pero at dati pagtulagan da or i-revise da. Isu ti makukunang art appropriation can in contemporary arts originality is not an issue. Creation artists do not prohibit the viewers from bringing the original message and intention of the original artwork. Rather, they establish them in a new context. Ibig sabihin, digito artist nga agree-revise iti may nga artwork or pag yung artwork binibigyan nila ng new context or explanation or iniiba nila yung design pero nandun pa rin yung pagka-original ng may sariling art. Artwork can be appropriated in two ways. First, artists can appropriate artistic content, which include artistic elements such as motifs, style, genres, and similar elements, and complete artworks. Lastly, appropriation of artwork can also done by individuals who adapt items that they consider to be artworks, specifically tangible creation of one culture. Yung mga artworks, iniiba nila yung content, which is yung mga elements, yung ginamit nilang elements. Example, paintbrush, gumamit silang paintbrush doon sa ibang art, hindi na ginaya, hindi yung ginamit nila, gumamit sila ng other paint materials nila, motifs, and yung style nila, and genres. Genre, ibig sabihin ko, example yung ibang generation, and similar elements pwede, tapos hindi din yung similar elements, hindi din yung nandun pa rin yung signature ng may-ari ng arts. Example yung culture ng ibang bansa na adapt nating mga Pilipino. Example is yung pagka-liberated nila.
Appropriation is different from copying or forgery. Appropriation allows the viewer to recognize the origin of the borrowed image and objects, as well as the original context. The artist aims to recontextualize the borrowed object or image through different steps such as enlargement or repetition of that image, framing, or translation across medium. Ang appropriation ay kaiba-iba sa pagkopya o panggagaya. Ang appropriation ay nagbibigay daan sa manonood na makikilala ang pinagmulan ng hiram ng mga larawan at bagay. Pati na rin ang original na konteksto, layunin ng artistang baguhin ang konteksto ng hiram na bagay o larawan sa pamamagitan ng iba't ibang hakbang tulad ng pagpapalaki o pag-uulit ng larawan, pagkakabit o pagsasalin sa iba't ibang medium. Forgery or copying tries to deceive the viewers into thinking that they are looking at an original work of art. Appropriation consider the fact that the viewer should be able to recognize the source of the object or image as well as its meaning. Let us look at the image below, which is a photo appropriation from the original painting by René Magritte, The Son of Man. Ang appropriation ay nagbibigay pansin sa katotohanang dapat makilala na manonood ang pinagmulan na bagay o larawan, pati na rin ang kahulugan nito. Tignan natin ang larawan sa ibaba na isang appropriation na larawan mula sa orihinal na pintura ni Rene Magritte, ang The Son of Man.
The Son of Man artist Rene Magritte, year completed 1964. Artist's statement about the paint. Everything we see hides another thing. We always want to see what is hidden by what we see. There is an interest in that which is hidden and which is the visible does not show us. This interest can take the form of a quiet, intense feeling. A sort of conflict, one might say, between the visible that is hidden and the visible that is present. The Son of Selfie Artist. This photo is based on the painting The Son of Man, with a few modifications noted as follows. Instead of having an apple fruit to cover the face, the artist decided to put an Apple smartphone instead to represent the current and trend of technological development. The hand gesture represents an act of taking selfie, which is not observed in the original painting. The background is industrial instead of sea and a low wall from the original painting. The reinterpretation of the Son of Man replaces as the apple with a smartphone, symbolizing technology. The hand gesture depicts taking a selfie, reflecting contemporary culture, while the background is industrial, contrasting the original. The message of the artist. Each artwork is like a time machine. It can send a person from the present to the future. Here in this picture, the artist substantially represents the current trend during his time, which is taking a selfie using a currently trendy device, the iPhone. This artwork is like a time machine, showcases modern culture by depicting someone taking a selfie with an iPhone, reflecting today's trend of technology and self-expression.
Artist would also like to express his recognition of the idea of the original artist of the Son of Man, which involved stimulating the natural curiosity of person to look beyond what is seen. Here in this picture, the face of artist is partially covered, which invite viewers to seek what is beyond the object in front. At the same time, the shadow was used to cast a mysterious personality of current generation.
Refers to a specific type or form of intellectual development. It also means the costumes, practices, perspectives, and even creations shared by a group of people.
In these terms, culture and appreciation. Define cultural appreciation as appreciation that occurs across the boundaries of cultures. This means that a person with a certain culture takes objects created by a person or a group of persons of other culture and use these objects for his or her own.
Object appropriation refers to the appropriation of concrete and noticeable works of art. This happens when not tangible works previously owned by people from one culture is taken and adopted by a person or a group of persons from another culture. An example of object appropriation is transferring a totem pole from North America to a museum in Europe. Appropriation ng bagay. Ito ay tumutukoy sa pag-angkin ng mga konkretong at napapansing likhang sining. Nagaganap ito kapag ang isang material na likhang sining na dating pag-aari ng mga tao mula sa isang kultura ay kinuha at ginamit ng isang tao o grupo ng mga tao mula sa ibang kultura. Halimbawa ng appropriation ng bagay ay ang paglilipat ng isang totem pole mula sa Hilagang Amerika patungo sa isang museum sa Europe. Temple pole. Content appropriation refers to the adoption of works of art that are intangible, Examples of these works of art are short stories, poetry, and musical compositions. This happens when intangible works previously expressed by people from one culture is adapted by use by a person or a group of persons from another culture. Appropriation ng nilalaman. Sa kabilang dako, ang appropriation ng nilalaman ay tumutukoy sa pag-angkin ng mga likhang sining na intangible. Halimbawa ng mga likhang sining na ito ay ang mga maikling kwento, tula at mga komposisyon ng musika. Nagaganap ito kapag ang isang intangible na likhang sining na dating ipinahayag ng mga tao mula sa isang kultura ay inaangkin at ginagamit ng isang tao o grupo ng mga tao mula sa ibang kultura. Ang ilan gawa ng Frances na kompositor na si Claude Debussy na gumamit ng musikang Indonesia ay halimbawa nito. Ang appropriation ng nilalaman ay maaaring kategoryahin pa sa dalawa: style appropriation and motif appropriation.
Style appropriation. Artists involved in style appropriation do not replicate the works created by a person or a groups of persons from another culture. However, they use the elements from those works from another culture in creating their works. For example, a Caucasian woman who grew up in Australia wrote Oriental rap songs, which is part of African American culture.
Motif appropriation happens when artists are inspired by art from a different culture, but they do not produce artworks using the exact style. An example of this is European artists using ideas from African art, but not necessarily following the African style of art. Ibig sabihin ng motif appropriation, the pattern of the artist, kung paano siya nag-a-adapt ng isang form of art sa ibang artwork. Example lang yung European artist, ina-adapt nila yung African art. Then gumagawa sila ng European art inspired by African art.
Subject appreciation. Of course, when a subject matter from other culture is appropriated, an example of this a British writer creating a story about Pacific Islanders. It may be considered as an act of outsider taking subject matter that is meant by insiders as secret, considering outsiders only have access to the elements of culture that they really see and may be unaware of other elements of culture that are embedded and are not visible. They may tend or distort an insider's culture. They may happen offensively because of this subject appreciation could be morally acceptable.
Appropriation in art involves borrowing recognizable images or objects from different sources and using them to create new words, often changing their context and meaning. It differs from copying or forgery by acknowledging the source and aiming to recontextualize the borrowed elements. Cultural appropriation, on the other hand, involves adapting elements from another culture, sometimes blurring boundaries and raising ethical questions. Overall, appropriation in art and culture can be a form of experimentation and reinterpretation, inviting viewers to consider the original and new context of the works.